Hi, welcome back. It's Edson with another video. So today what we be working on is a dark mode and light mode button or background changer. So we'll be working on that today. Let me show you how it looks on the other screen. Let's switch on. So of course we'll be using HTML, JavaScript and CSS for styling, obviously. So this is how it looks with the JavaScript, the HTML, then the style sheet on a different page. And the functionality, as you can see, when I click the button, it changes from light mode to dark mode, where dark mode is on the background and the baby blue text and light mode. So yeah, I'll be showing you how to do all of this. So the first step obviously is to create the CSS style, and let's jump into the video. Cool. So our first step is to create a folder in which we're going to store everything, our documents and our text files. We're going to name it dark mode btn. You don't really have to name it this long. Awesome. So once you've done that, I'm using Sublime by the way, so I'm just going to drag this in. Awesome. Then I'm going to right click, create a new file. I'm going to save that file as index.html. This is all the basic stuff, nothing fancy yet. Then I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to save it as style.css. Awesome. Once you've saved that, go to your index.html file. For me it's Sublime text, so I just have to type HTML, then press enter. It's going to auto complete for me. So the first step I want to do, just to get things out of the way, I want to link my style sheet. So it's style.css. Awesome. And then over here, now we start. So I'm just going to open a censor tag just to censor the contents of this folder, of this div that I'm about to create now. So I'm going to create the div which we're going to store everything in. So I'm going to create a div. I'm going to pass in the class name of bg color. Awesome. And then in that div I'm going to give it a header. This is just the basic stuff. I'm going to give it a header. I'm going to call that dark mode. Awesome. And once we're done over there, I'm going to open another div for the button, right? So I'm going to open another div. I'm going to open a button tag. Awesome. Then I'm going to give this button a functionality. So with JavaScript you have on, mouse, over and all of that, but for this example we'll be using on click event. So on click. Awesome. And then we have to pass in a function over here which we're going to create later on in the JavaScript. So currently our function, we can just name it anything. Let's name it dark mode. Perfect. So we're done with the button, and then just some text for the button. Let's say change theme. Perfect. And then after that div, we're just gonna put a horizontal line just for basic styling. And then the last thing we need is a paragraph, just to see if this really works. So with the paragraph, we're gonna open lorem. Perfect. But I'm gonna delete a few things with lorem. I don't really need all of those things, so I'm just gonna delete a few things. I don't really need that much text. Cool. I think this is enough text. Let's control save. Let's open that in the browser. Perfect. It's looking perfect. There's no functionality yet, but it's looking perfect. Now we're just gonna go into our CSS. We're gonna say .bg color. So over here we'll just be passing basic style for the div that's containing everything. .bg color open. So I'm just gonna be passing in some basic things. You can copy and paste if you want. We're gonna give it a minimum height of that. We don't even need to justify the content and align all of that. And then this is the fun part. We're going to create this class right now. .black. This basically is the properties it's going to call when we click the button. So over here we just add a background color of black. Basic, simple. Done. And then we're going to add a color. So this is going to change the text color. We're going to add a text color of, let's say light sky blue. Now there's it over there. Perfect. Done. So you basically could add more properties in here if you had like bigger files or bigger things, but then for now this is enough. We're gonna call the second one, this is the light mode, we're gonna call it white, and we're gonna do the same thing, but background color, instead of white, we're gonna call it dim gray. I think it's a fitting color. It's not too dark, not too light. Awesome. Then the color of the text, let's just go with gray. Not too much contrast going on. That's cool. Perfect. Then lastly, we're going to style the button on its own. Button. Going to style that. Background color, obviously, of white. And then the color of the text, we just want the gray, not just to match, blend in with everything else. And then last thing we need is the font size, right? This is a lot of styling. Font size dash. Awesome, there is it. We just need 20 pixels. I think that's big enough. Control save over here, refresh the page. Okay, just got bigger. You can see the button already changed. Now let's get to the fun stuff. So over here, now underneath the body tag, we're going to open up a script. So we're going to be writing the script inside our HTML document. We don't really need that. It's going to know that the script is JavaScript. Awesome. And then the first thing we're going to need to do is just call the div. Call the div. We're going to call the div in which the contents are in, right? So we're going to say constant. Let's give it a name, the div. Let's go with the square. Square, I don't know if I type square perfectly, is equal to document dot query selector all. Query selector all. It's gonna be a function, query selector all. Perfect. And then .bg color, the div we call it now. Perfect. I think now we can use it once we've done this. Also, let me scroll up so you can see the text. And then we're gonna set an index, but we're gonna use the variable, the assignment called the let instead of constant, because we want to be able to change it. I'm gonna call it square index. So we're gonna set that square index is equal to 0. You could really use anything. You could just use I and it would work. Now first step, we need to put what? So the first step, what I'm going to be doing now is just adding that class that we created on the CSS .white. So we always start on white mode. So we're just going to add this class in before we do our function. So on load, it's going to class list add of this. So it's going to say squares the index dot class list dot add. Then you pick the class list, we created it over that side and we called it white. Perfect. And then now we're going to create our function, right? The function name, we named it above here, dark mode, and we forgot to add circle brackets. It's a good thing we came back for it. So we called it over here dark mode. We're just going to copy that over here by the function name. We are going to control paste that. It's dark mode. Then we're going to remove this argument because we don't need it now. Now this is where we're going to be writing our functionality. In our case, we'll be using an if loop. So already we assigned white to that content of the div. So what we'll be doing here, we'll be writing an if statement, right? The if statement will say, if it contains white, the first thing I want you to do is remove that class list of white and add a black class list. And then an else statement for if it contains black already, remove black and add white. So let's go if condition dot tab and then we can just control paste this, right? Control C, and paste this in over here. We're doing this just to save time on the video. Where we said add, we're gonna just say contains. So if it contains white, what we want it to do, Control V, want it, instead of add white, we want you to remove white. Remove white. And then once it's removed white, we want you to add black now. So we're gonna call what? Black. Let me just check my style.css if I didn't caps. Okay, cool. I just wanted to check if I didn't put it on caps or make one of the first words capital letters. Cool. So over here we're gonna add our else statement. Else. So this is just a conditional statement of what it's going to do if that first condition is not made. I'm gonna Control V. Else we want to remove black now because it will have the black class list once that functions ran and we click the button. What do we want you to do? Remove black. No, wait. Okay, a bracket missing. There we go. And what do we want to do? Add white. That's the thing. We're gonna save. Come to our HTML. F. Now we're gonna click it. And it's done. And there it is. So one thing can just change over here. The gray is not matching when it's on light mode. So you can come back here to white. And you can put text color to white. Or white smoke. Let's do white smoke. Come back this side. Awesome, awesome. There we are. Perfect. So that was the first tutorial on dark mode using the button. The next video will be somewhere over here where we'll be using, instead of a button, we'll be using radio buttons. And in the next video, we'll be using drop down menu. And I want to give a shout out to Emmanuel Faye and Jason. So we worked on this together in class. So I just thought it's a good video to put out.